We're here to deal with Pulp Riot's Riot, International Sales Education Director.
Hi, Dale. I think today what we're going to talk about is semi-permanent colors, the longevity of them, the best way to apply them for longer lasting color, as well as any type of troubleshooting. So why don't we get started with your first question?
How long does Pulp Riot semi-permanent last?
That's really not the right question to ask. The right question is, how long do they fade? Semi-permanent colors were designed to fade every time you wet the hair. So what does that mean? That means anytime you sweat, say you're going to the gym every day and you're vigorously working out and your hair is really wet, what you want to do is apply dry shampoo before going to the gym, and that way it starts to absorb some of that salt water. Another thing is women, when they get to a certain age, have these personal vacations, or as we call them, or little power surges, and they sweat at night when they sleep. So the best thing to do there, again, dry shampoo. Dry shampoo is semi-permanent color's best friend. So they'll apply it to their scalp before they go to bed. That will absorb the dirt and oil as well as the salt water. The other thing is you want to wait 2 days before you shampoo. That's with any color, whether it's semi-permanent, whether it's demi-permanent, or permanent color. So 48 hours is generally the rule of thumb. And then what you'd want to do is when you wash the hair, you want to just wash the scalp. So we think it's just something simple that everybody knows how to do, and that's shampooing. But it's not. Most people take the shampoo, a large amount in their hands, and they put it right over the top of their head. What you're supposed to do is actually put it in the palm of your hand, emulsify it, take it to your fingers, then apply just to the scalp, shampooing just the scalp. And then as the shampoo runs out, that will cleanse the hair as well. The other thing is going into the ocean. We're here in the international countries, and there is the ocean. It is the summer months, and people spend a lot of time at the beach. So you want to cover your hair because any kind of sun will fade. Hot tools will fade color. The other thing is that we always worry about the sun fading color, but we're inside most of the time, and a lot of these lights will cause some color degradation as well. So using some products with UV protection helps. And then also when we say shampooing, I get a lot of people who say in the US the color seems to last longer. And that's not true. The colors were created equally. The reason that it is that in the US we are very committed to our colors. So we don't shampoo. We only shampoo maybe once a week, once every 10 days. What we do is use dry shampoo in between. So it's really more about the fade than it is how long it lasts. Pulp Riot colors were designed, like I said, to fade every time you wet the hair, but what it does is it fades true to tone. So what that means is that every time the hair is wet, it starts to fade into a pastel shade of itself. So instead of most brands, the blues turn green, the reds become orange. That's not what happens with Pulp Riot. Because of the type of dye molecule we use, which is very expensive, you get much more vibrant color, you get much longer lasting color that way. Your next question?
I'm getting feedback that hairdressers say it doesn't last as long as some of the other expensive semi-permanent brands available. Why is this?
Well, what you have to be careful of is that a lot of these semi-permanent colors are positioning themselves as semi-permanent when they're actually a stain. Pulp Riot is a true semi-permanent color, and if it is a semi-permanent, like I said, it's designed to fade every time you shampoo or wet the hair. Pulp Riot is an acidic color, so what it does is it actually coats the hair, but then also seals that cuticle down to give you beautiful shine and luster. These other brands are actual stains, and they're staining the hair. So because of the type of dye molecule we talked about in the last question, that's very expensive, and it causes real vibrant tones. It's much longer lasting, but also when it's time to take the color out of the hair using blank canvas, it's much easier to remove.
What can cause Pulp Riot color to fade more quickly than it should?
Well, there's a few things. As I've been going into countries, this has been a big question. One of the big ones is that because of all the minerals in the water in these areas, in the UK, I find a lot of lime buildup. In other countries, there's iron, there's, again, lime scale, there's just many, many different things. And what that does is it coats the hair and it inhibits the color from attaching to the hair. So what we suggest is that you use a demineralizer. Now, there's two things. A lot of people think a clarifying shampoo is a demineralizer, when in all actuality it's not. A clarifying shampoo just removes any type of buildup that's in the hair from, say, products, things like that. A demineralizer is a chelating shampoo, and that's exactly the type of shampoo you need to be able to remove the minerals. You can find this like a Malibu Sea has these little sachet packets. Urban Alchemy has a really great demineralizer. So you want to use this as your first step. Create a clean, beautiful canvas to be able to create perfect colors.
What should business partners do if a hairdresser expresses concerns about the longevity?
Again, those are some things that we need to talk about. As I'm going into countries too, what I'm finding is that people, I always say, did you shampoo all the bleach out of the hair? And they're like, well, we know how to shampoo. Well, we do, but if there is any type of residue of bleach, that will eat away at the dye molecule, causing the color to completely fade out within days, sometimes within hours. So as I went into these countries, they were almost offended by the question because they're like, we know how to shampoo. Well, that's great. But if there's any residue left in the bowls and brushes, so I would ask them, please get me a bowl and a brush and let's mix. And right in the base of the brush, I'm always finding some bleach residue as well as the bottom of the bowl. And as hairdressers, we're really busy. We have client after client. We're rinsing out these bowls and we're not washing them out completely. As we're mixing semi-permanent colors in these bowls with that bleach residue, again, it is eating away at that dye molecule. So that's one of the reasons. Again, demineralizing. We need to demineralize the hair if necessary for that. But also we talked about in question number 1, the way we shampoo. We want to wait 48 hours between any type of color service and shampooing. We want to stay out of the ocean. If we do, tie the hair up. If you're in the sun, a great thing to do is take your hair into a bun, put some type of a mask with a UV protection on it, and keep it tied tight. Wear a hat. Try not to use hot tools too often. Some people don't shampoo but once a week, but they'll use a hot tool every single day. So what we have to really remember is that semi-permanent colors are designed to fade, but if you're looking for something more permanent, we have our Faction 8 color line, which is our permanent color line. And we have boosters in there that can actually create the same look as a semi-permanent color, but make it permanent.
Okay. What is the right way to use Pulp semi-permanent color to get the best result and longevity?
Sure. So I think we've gone over this a little bit, but I'm going to go more in depth. Step 1, step 2, step 3. So step 1, if needed, demineralize. Myself as a master colorist, I always demineralize hair, whether it's a semi-permanent color, demi-permanent, or a permanent color. I like to take that extra 10 minutes and make sure that I have the perfect canvas to work with. That fabric has to be ready to accept color. And the thing is if I take that extra 10 minutes, I know my color is going to come out correct, and it's worth it instead of having to go and color correct. So we start there. We want to make sure that we're never using conditioner on the hair before a semi-permanent color, because what that does is it coats the hair, and then it inhibits those dye molecules to be able to attach to the hair. What's really important to remember is that there's conditioner base in the color, so it's unnecessary to use a conditioner beforehand. Then we're going to use it straight out of the bowl, or straight out of the tube into a bowl. Now you can either mix your colors or you can use it straight one tube. And the hair must be dry, and what we're going to do is apply in a downward motion first and then side to side, because what that does is it rolls the hair and we ensure that the hair is getting completely covered. The size of the section that we take is really important too. So what I generally tell everyone is if you could read a newspaper through that section of hair, then that's the perfect size section. And that will get you some even saturation from roots to ends. That also will help with color longevity and application. Also, if somebody is already, a level 7 or lighter and they have natural color hair, the best thing to do is a bleach wash, because what that does is it roughs up the cuticle enough or opens the cuticle enough to accept that color. That also is the same rule of thumb you will use with gray hair and white hair.
Final question. What should I do if the hairdresser wants to achieve a long-lasting result?
I think we've covered this in most of the other questions. So I guess the key things that are really, really important about semi-permanent colors. 1, it's about creating the perfect canvas. There's 2 things. There's level and there's tone. So if you can get to a level 10 but still have a very orange canvas or a very yellow canvas. So you might want to use a toner to be able to create that perfect canvas and then do your semi-permanent colors. The lighter the hair, the brighter the colors. So if you're looking at, say, a level 6 and a level 10, and I put the same color on, I want to make sure that, you know, I get to a level 10 for the brightness. The other thing is again, we want to make sure we're using dry shampoo. We want to make sure that we demineralize. We want to make sure we're using small enough sections for saturation. We want to make sure that we are leaving the color on for up to 40 minutes. So we will get the vibrancy at 5 to 10 minutes, but we won't get the longevity. So it's best to keep the color on the full 40 minutes, and you will get full saturation, and you'll get the longest longevity. So on your darker, more vibrant colors, you're going to get up to, they will fade up to 40 times the hair is wet. If it's more pastel shades, it's going to go up to 20. So you have to remember the type, you know, which colors you're using, and then give your client a true idea of how it's going to fade and all the steps in between. I think that's what I love most about Pulp Riot Color, and after working for the company, I guess the first few weeks that I was with them, I was able to pick out in a crowd what was Pulp Riot and what was another brand because of the type of vibrancy that it was getting and the depth and tone of color. That's really, really important for a brand. And two, again, like we talked about, because of the type of dye molecules we use, we're able to achieve a much more vibrant, deep tone, and again, they fade true to tone. And I think this all stems from the fact that there's 0 degrees of separation between who creates the product and who uses the product. So Alexis Thurston, who is the co-founder of Pulp Riot, is the actual creator of the product. She works in the salon behind a chair every single day, and she knew exactly what she needed. She was using another brand, and it just wasn't performing the way she needed it to, and so that's what drove her to create Pulp Riot. And now what we've done is we've expanded, and we've gone into our permanent color line, which I'm really excited about, which is launching here in the international countries in Europe. And Australia, September 1st. So we're really excited about that. You're going to get the same vibrancy. You're going to get the beautiful, you're not going to get faded like you would another brand. The gray coverage is phenomenal, and you can do it with a much lower volume of peroxide. The integrity of the hair is absolutely beautiful. Your blondes, you can fill blondes into a dark color without having to, or you can color them without having to fill them. So it's a beautiful color line. It's for everyone. It's for your hairstylist that's just starting out, or maybe she's just an every 4-weeker that does your basic colors. So she can go straight out of the tube and create these beautiful colors. But it's also for your seasoned hairstylist. And those seasoned hairstylists can create a multitude of colors just by intermixing different things. And that's true to say with the semi-permanent colors as well. You know, we have the semi-permanents, plus we have the neon electrics. But out of the 16 shades or 18 shades, you can create a multitude of colors just by intermixing, knowing your color wheel. And what I encourage hairstylists to do is take a day where you can just sit on the floor with a big sheet of white paper and just start to mix and create your own colors. So Pulp Riot colors are absolutely beautiful, but that's how we've come up with the Raven collection as well. Casey created a little bit more of a gothic look, but which actually turned out to be, they're more muted colors, and it's something that the international countries really enjoy because they're not so bright. So you can wear them on a daily basis and still fit into the business world, the culture that they're in, and it's just something more that they're looking for. So starting January 2020, you'll be able to get those as well in the international countries. So, but I appreciate your time, Deo, and if you have any more questions, just holler.